What's up, YouTube? Zachary Michaels here. I'm an actor, and this is An Actor Reacts. And today we'll be talking about The Kissing Booth 2, starring Nate Jacobs and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Let's discuss. So, just a little heads up, we will be getting into spoilers in this review, just in case anyone hasn't seen the film yet. And before we get started, if you're new to my channel, which, like I've said in my past two videos today, most likely everyone is because this is my first day of posting reviews, be sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Look at me, I'm proud of myself, posting 3 reviews my first day. Okay, anyway, The Kissing Booth 2 is a direct sequel to the 2018 film The Kissing Booth, and it's based on the novel The Kissing Booth 2, Going the Distance by Beth Reekles. The film follows Elle as she navigates through her senior year of high school with her best friend Lee, as her boyfriend Noah is away at college. The film stars Joey King, Joel Courtney, and Jacob Elordi, and was directed by Vince Marcello from a screenplay by Marcello and Jay Arnold. You know what's funny? I mentioned Jacob Elordi in my 365 Days review that I posted earlier today. And when I filmed that, I didn't even know that I'd be reviewing this film as well. So now it's like 2 Jacobs for the price of 1. Anyway, let's get into the good, the bad, and see what I rated this film. So I know that this movie and others like it get a lot of flack, but I think it's a cute movie. Like, is it Oscar worthy? No, not at all, but it's not trying to be. It's just a cute little teen rom-com, and I think it succeeds at that, you know? For one, the cast is solid. Like, they give some believable performances for these characters who get into some ridiculous circumstances and situations, you know? And, like, is this material stretching them and making them dig deep? Again, no, not at all, but every role doesn't need to be that, you know? And, like, in the case of Jacob and Joey, they've both been able to do projects outside of the Kissing Booth that show more of their range and show what else they can do. So this is just, I think, a fun movie to do for them. And funnily enough, I saw the first Kissing Booth before I saw Jacob in Euphoria and Joey in The Act. But that first movie just did not stick with me at all. Like, I basically forgot all about it as soon as I finished it. I didn't think it was terrible, but it was just kind of forgettable for me. But now seeing them in The Kissing Booth 2, after seeing both Euphoria and The Act, I only have, like, Nate Jacobs and Gypsy Rose in my mind, especially with Joey, like, because she really transformed into that character. So it took me, like, the first 30 minutes of this film to kind of get Gypsy Rose out of my head and pay attention to Elle. What else? Oh, I do think that this movie was an improvement on the first. Like I just said, that first really didn't make much of an impression on me. But I did find myself enjoying The Kissing Booth 2 throughout a couple times. So I think that's good. They did better on the second run. Yeah. And then I think that they know their target audience. I think that's really important for films and TV shows to know your target audience and cater to them, which I think they do in this film. I do not think I'm the target audience for this film. I'm guessing their target audience is like preteen and teenage girls, or just really people who love romance films, and I'm not really in either of those groups. Like, I don't mind a rom-com, or I guess this isn't really that much of a rom-com, but I don't mind, like, romance films, but they're not, like, at the top of my list. Funnily enough, I do really like teenage dramas usually, or more so coming of age stories, I guess I should say. I just really like to see those, but my coming of age stories that I like are more so based in realism. Like, this movie is a bit, it's like, this movie is like quirky and a bit out there. Like, these people aren't real people. I prefer a more grounded coming of age story, like a like a Breakfast Club, which is still a teen drama, but it gets real in that movie, which I really like. And shout out to Molly Ringwald, who's in this film as well. But yeah, I'm just not the target audience for this movie. Like, a plot point that I thought was interesting and that I would have liked them to focus on a little bit more was like Jacob's character having a hard time transitioning to college. Like I found that interesting, way more interesting than like the romance storyline. But they didn't really explore that. They mentioned it. They kind of alluded to it at the beginning, and then he confessed that to Elle at the very end. But other than that, they didn't really touch on him like transitioning to college. Like I find that so interesting, and that reminds me of the show Mrs. Fletcher on HBO. It's a limited series on HBO. If you haven't seen that yet, I would definitely recommend that. It stars Catherine Hahn, and it's about her. She's a single mom, and her only son is going off to college. And then the show's kind of split between her kind of rediscovering who she is without like kids in the home, and then with him like transitioning to college, and he's like having a really hard time with college. And I found that storyline really interesting there, and it could have been interesting here because in both places they're like they were the big dogs in high school, and then they get to college and they don't really know who they are. And I find that intriguing, and I wish they would have focused that on that a bit more in this film, but you know, that's not what this film's audience wants, and they cater to their audience, you know. And I think that their audience is going to like this film, and that's probably the most important thing because, you know, who cares what critics say? Who cares what like others say? But like, if your core audience, if your like target audience doesn't like what you're putting out, then you have a problem. But I think that their target audience is going to enjoy this, so kudos to them. I think those are all my good. Now let's get into the bad. Okay, so the most obvious bad in this film is just how predictable it is. Like, there was no twists, no turns. Like, I predicted every single thing that happened in this movie. And, you know, it's like, whatever. It feels to me like, because they're both Netflix films, it feels like The Kissing Booth 2 and To All the Boys 2 just were working off the same template. Like, the same thing happens in both films. It's like relationship gets rocky, introduce new love interest. She kind of flirts with new love interest. By the end of the film, she tells new love interest, "You're great, but it's not you that I love." And then she runs back to the guy that she fell in love with in the first movie. And it's just like, you know, again, it's like the film knows its audience, but I don't know. They could have tried to throw some cool thing in. But I do think that this one, I think I enjoyed this one better than the second To All the Boys. Or maybe it was just the second To All the Boys was just more of a disappointment for me because I really liked that first To All the Boys. I enjoyed it. And then the second one I didn't really like as much. And this one is kind of the opposite. I didn't really care for the first one, but I thought the second one was good. So uh, anyway, it was super predictable. And that goes into like my second thing. There's so many tropes in this film. Like they just so many tropes. It's like they have the mean girls, the speaking over the intercom, which happened multiple times in the film. It's like why is everyone using this intercom? Like that's a classic teen rom-com thing, like announcing things over the intercom at school, and that happened multiple times in the film. Again, the second love interest to shake things up, and that actually happened twice in this film. Both um, uh, Jacob's character and Joey's character had like new love interests that the audience was supposed to be like ooh about, but again, neither one panned out to be anything, and they still ended up together. Um, oh, another trope that they had in this movie, like the token gay character, that was that was so weird because again, I don't really remember the first To All the Boys, but were either of those gay characters in that first? I'm sorry, I don't remember the first kissing booth, but were either of those gay characters in the first film? Because I don't remember. And even if they were in this second film, it still felt thrown in. Like the gay character popped up halfway through and came out of nowhere. I was confused when that scene started. And then he's just like, "Oh yeah, I like that guy, but don't tell anybody." And Joey's like, or Elle, I should say, is like, "Oh no, of course not." And then the gay character pops up again at the end when they're doing the kissing booth and kisses the guy. That was like the whole storyline, and it just felt weird to me because it was like, who even are these people, and why is this being inserted? It felt like they were just inserting it to be like, hey, look, we have a gay character. And that storyline had nothing to do with the main plot. It just felt thrown in kind of sloppily. I just found that really strange. But like, token gay character is another trope for a teen drama. Oh, the running into lockers. That's like a classic trope for teen films. The big competition. This in this movie, it was a Dance Revolution thing, which at first I was like, what is this storyline? But I actually ended up liking the Dance Revolution storyline. That was probably one of the better storylines in the movie. But they had that big competition that they're practicing for the entire film. They get there and they're nervous at how good everyone else is, but then they perform and just blow everyone out the water and, of course, win. Like classic teen drama trope. And then all the freaking montages in this movie. I mean, it's like, we get it. Time is passing. Just so many tropes in this film. And then, I'm not really a big fan of like the friendship that's at the core of this film. They don't really seem like friends to me. Like, I find their friendship so restrictive. Like, why do they have these rules? That seems like such a strange thing. Like, why do you have rules with your friends about things that you have to abide by? Like, why do they have to go to the same school? Why do they have to do this? Why do they have to do that? Like, the rule system just is so weird to me. I don't like that. And then, like, I don't think they actually trust each other. Like, throughout the film, they're constantly holding things back from each other because they don't, they don't feel like they can share it. Like, if this is supposed to be your best friend and you're so close, why can't you share things with them? And why are they constantly, back to the rules, why are they constantly like, rule number 85, rule number 18, rule number 30? Like, that's so, it's just, I don't believe them as friends, you know? And what's his name? The best friend, the guy, Noah's little brother. I don't like him. I don't think he's a likable character. I think he's super selfish. He takes that whole rules friend thing so seriously, and it's like, you literally faked an injury so that you could spend more time with your girlfriend and not tell your friend that she's around y'all too much. Like, what kind of friendship is this that you don't have open communication? You have to fake an injury just to spend time with your girlfriend alone. And how did he think that that was going to work out? Like, by just not telling Elle anything? Like, my guy, like, why would you think that that was just going to work out magically? And then he didn't even stand up for her. I'm not a fan of him. And his poor girlfriend, like, poor her. Like, I thought she was treated terribly in this film, and he didn't deserve to get her back in the end because I don't feel like he really learned anything. But anyway, I digress. I'm probably thinking too deep into that. And then my last kind of bad, I wasn't really a fan of the ending of this film. For one, it just kind of skipped from Thanksgiving to graduation, and I was like, oh, okay. Not that I would have wanted the film to be longer, but I was like, oh, okay, we're just skipping over things. And I liked Marco. I actually saw more chemistry, or what seemed to be a better relationship between Marco and Elle than with Noah and Elle. Um, it just seemed like a healthier relationship, and then there seemed to be no real wrap up for me of that Marco storyline. She was just like, I don't like you, you're not the one, and then like, it was just done. Like, it felt like it just dropped off super quick for me. And I feel like they tried to make Marco seem like the bad guy when he's like, tell your brother congratulations at the homecoming thing. It's like, now we're trying to villainize this guy who's been like propped up the entire movie, and then we just like throw him away super quick to get back to the main storyline. I don't know. It was weird. Oh, another trope: the like nerdy dude winning homecoming king, classic teenage trauma trope. Um, and then the ending when I actually initially thought I really liked the ending because I thought the ending was that she got waitlisted at both schools. And I was like, this is giving me my touch of realism. Like, show people that like everything doesn't pan out perfectly. You're not gonna like she got waitlisted. Everything doesn't have a big happy ending. And I was really happy with that ending. I was like, okay, that could be a good thing. Just like end the series here, like that's a good solid 2 movies. And then they were like, not actually. She actually got into both Harvard and UC Berkeley. And I was like, oh, and there it is again. There we are back in this like trope-filled teenage drama thing. And again, how good are these relationships if she can't tell her boyfriend and best friend that she got into both schools and she has to make a decision just because she doesn't want to hurt them? Like, they need better communication in all these relationships in the film, because like all the problems with Elle and Noah could have easily been solved by like just openly discussing things. Like, terrible communication in this film. But yeah, it looks like they're setting up a third film with the like which school is she gonna go to thing. But I don't know. I feel like they should just stop it now. But this film is #1 trending on Netflix right now, so there'll likely be a third film. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be there watching it, but there'll likely be a film. That's really all I got for Kissing Booth 2. Now let's get into my rating. So, The Kissing Booth 2. Again, this movie is not exactly my cup of tea. I'm probably not going to be watching this again. But it's not a bad film. It's cute and it knows its audience and caters to them, right? So, I'd give this film a solid 6 out of 10. I think there's definitely better films, but there's definitely worse films out there. I think it's just kind of popular to hate on things like this because it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Do I think they should keep making them? No, I think 2 is enough. We can move on from this now, but it's not the worst thing out there in the world. So that's all I got on The Kissing Booth. I hope you give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, leave a comment below, let me know your thoughts on the film and my review, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for stopping by. See y'all next time.